moving on to the Gaussian blurs. Instead of using a white fill, we are going to use a gradient. I use the orange one available in the default swatches that load in automatically with the program. I then use the pencil tool to draw out shapes where the light source is most visible. They don't have to be perfectly shaped since we'll be adding a blur to them. Once that's done, select the layer which holds the gradient shapes, go to Effect, Gaussian Blur, choose the radius of the blur, and then click OK. We want to keep the layer selected as we are going to change the blending mode and opacity on it. Color dodge would be the obvious way to go, but it would fade out the orange too brightly, so instead I choose the blending mode overlay, allowing the blurred gradient to mix smoothly into the base colors, shades, and highlights. I lower the opacity to 40% so it's not overwhelmingly present. And that's it! We want to apply the same process on all the other background elements. You can vary the opacity level on each background element, especially once you unhide the white transparent layers in between. Since the light source is more visible in the background, you could leave the opacity at a higher level to make it shinier. Looking at the background, I find the flower in the corner right to be distracting. Since there aren't any more flowers like this in the illustration, it looks out of place. So I could either draw more in or remove it. In this case, I decided to remove them as after having applied the shades and highlights, the illustration is quite busy already and adding more flower elements could disrupt the composition. Instead of selecting the line art and live paint which contain the base colors, individually deleting them, I decide to use a clipping mask to simply hide the flower element. Using the pencil tool, I pick a random fill color and draw out a shape on top of the layer which holds the front left tree and flower element. I then go into the layer that holds the shape and move the path into the tree layer at the top. Unselecting it, I click on the layer which now holds the shape and the tree layers and then click on the button at the bottom of the layers panel which reads Make Release Clipping Mask. It's right next to the button shaped as a magnifying glass.